Hello all and welcome to the third session of Direct Tax fourth semester of Mangalore University. Now in the previous two sessions, we have seen the computation of annual value, exceptions to the house property income. We have seen features of house property income. In this session 3, we are going to look at deductions under section 23 and how do you arrive at the gross annual value of the property. As far as deduction under section 23 is concerned, there is only one deduction that is allowed from gross annual value, and that is deduction of municipal taxes. From the GAV, that is the gross annual value, the municipal taxes levied by the local authority and paid by the owner of the house property. So I stress paid by the owner of the house property during the previous year is deducted, that is under section 23. Now during the current year, we may make or pay municipal taxes relating to current year, relating to the previous year which was pending last year's or earlier years, and sometimes we may pay advance tax also that is relating to next year as well. So the payment of municipal tax may relate to current year, may relate to previous year, or may relate to next year. Point to be noted, under section 23, irrespective of which year's tax you have paid, you can claim deduction from gross annual value. Now, how do you determine the GAV of the property? There are four very important factors that we have to consider. We have something called as fair rent. Then we have the AMV, or we call it as the annual municipal value. Then we have something known as the standard rent. And finally, we have the actual rent received. Let's look at the first one, fair rent. What do you mean by fair rent? FRV, fair rent or fair rental value, we say, refers to the rent of an identical or a similar type of house in the same locality. Identical house. Suppose if I have constructed a new property, say it is granite flooring, say it is cement roofing, all the facilities that are available inside the house is more or less common in comparison to an identical house in the neighborhood. And suppose if my neighbor has let out his property at rupees 20,000 per month rent, meaning to say the fair rent of my property would also be 20,000 rupees per month. So refers to the rent of an identical or similar type of house in the same locality. That is called as fair rent. Then every house property, no matter which local area it is situated, comes under the municipality or the city corporation, or you can say the local government. Municipal value of a property refers to the annual value of the house property fixed by the municipality or by local government. For example, we are in Mangalore. So we have Mangalore City Corporation based on the certain rates fixing as to what should be the annual municipal value of our house property, based upon which we are supposed to pay taxes. So annual value of the house property fixed by the municipality for the purpose of levying municipal tax on the house property. So such a value is called as municipal value, and since it is calculated for the year, it is also known as the annual municipal value, that is AMV, we say. Next, in some big cities, rent charged by the landlord, by the owner of the property, is usually very, very high. And what happens is people start building or come out with small houses in the form of slums and start living there and compromise on the beauty of such a city. So in some major cities of our country, we have the application of what is called as Rent Control Act. The minimum rent that is fixed by the respective state. So where RCA is in operation, that is Rent Control Act is in operation, the fair rent cannot be in excess of the standard rent. Means a rent is fixed for a particular type of property and the owner cannot charge any amount beyond such standard rent. That's why it is called as standard, a limit fixed by the Rent Control Act. Actual rent, very common. When I am letting out my property, the rent actually received or receivable by the owner during the previous year is called as actual rent. So actual rent is basically the rent received by the owner of the house property by letting out the property to the tenant. Now, there are two very important points that we have to note as far as annual value is concerned. Where the owner under an agreement provides facilities such as lift, water pump, electricity, vehicle parking, gardener, etc. to the tenant, then from the actual rent received or receivable, the cost of providing such facility must be deducted. So from the actual rent received, when we deduct the cost of providing such facilities, that will be treated as actual rent. So as I have been stressing in my earlier sessions, we are focusing on house property alone. We are not focusing on the facilities that are provided along with the house. And suppose the rent is inflated a bit, it is increased a bit because such facilities like lift, water pump, gardener, all these are made available. So if these are, then the amount for such facilities must be deducted to arrive at what is called as actual rent. Second important point that we have to note is regarding the tenant paying the electricity bill of the portion occupied by the landlord. Suppose we stay in one big unit and half of the unit is let out to a tenant, but there is one common electricity meter and the bill is divided, say 50% landlord, 50% the tenant. But suppose if the tenant is undertaking the responsibility or obligation of paying the entire electricity bill, then the amount so paid will be added to the actual rent received or receivable. So for the portion occupied by the landlord, 50% of the landlord's electricity bill, 50% or more, whatever is paid by the tenant, then that amount is added to the actual rent received or receivable as far as taxable income from house property is concerned and to arrive at the gross annual value of the property. Now, how do you compute the gross annual value? There are two sets over here. One where standard rent is not applicable. I stress is not applicable. So when standard rent is not applicable, we have the fair rent, we have the municipal value, and we have the actual rent. And among the three, whichever is higher will be the gross annual value. So municipal value, if it is higher, that will be the GAV. Fair rent among the three, if it is higher, that will be the GAV. The actual rent, if it is higher, that will be the gross annual value. So point to note, standard rent is not applicable. So where standard rent is not applicable, higher among the three values will be taken as the gross annual value. Now, very important, where standard rent is applicable, we break it up into 3+1 steps. Fourth step, +1 step, is applicable only on the fulfillment of conditions. We will see that. So where standard rent is applicable, first step is we compare the annual municipal value with the fair rental value. So you know what is municipal value? Rent fixed by the local government, the municipality, for the purpose of levying municipal tax. And fair rental value, value of a similar property which is located in our neighborhood. So among these two values, annual municipal value and fair rental value, among these two, whichever is more will be the answer of step 1, answer of the first step. And that will be compared with standard rent, the Rent Control Act, the rent fixed by the Rent Control Act in different cities is called standard rent. So this will be compared with the value of the first step. Among these two, whichever is less. Remember, second step is among the two, whichever is less. That will be the expected rent. So annual municipal value or fair rental value among the two, whichever is more. That will be compared with standard rent. Among the two, whichever is less. We arrive at what is called as expected rent. And expected rent is thereafter compared with actual rent received. And among the two, whichever is more, that will be the gross annual value of the property. But as I said, 3 plus 1. Now suppose in the third step, expected rent becomes the gross annual value. That is 1. And if there is a vacancy loss, so if these two conditions are satisfied, only then we go to the fourth step. That is, there is vacancy loss. For a few months, we were not able to locate a tenant, and because of that, the house remained vacant. So if there is vacancy loss, and in the third step, we get expected rent as the gross annual value. Only when these two conditions together are fulfilled, only then we go to the fourth step. In the fourth step, what do we do? That is, from the expected rent, we deduct the vacancy loss. From the expected rent, we deduct the vacancy loss, and thereafter we compare that with actual rent received. Very, very important. Not the annual rent. We compare that with actual rent received. And among the two, whichever is more will be the gross annual value of the property. So once again, applicability of the fourth step. To apply the fourth step, following conditions are to be satisfied. One is two conditions. One, there is a vacancy loss. It may be 1 month, it may be 3 months. And from the above three steps, that the earlier three steps, we get expected rent as the gross annual value. So only when these two conditions are fulfilled, we go to the fourth step. And in the fourth step, from the expected rent, we deduct vacancy loss. And that is compared with the actual rent received. And among the two numbers, whichever is more, that will be the gross annual value. So important point to be noted. If in the problem, annual rent is given, remember, annual rent, not actual rent. If annual rent is given and the house remained vacant is also given, then actual rent received, how much rent is received will be the annual rent minus the vacancy period loss. Suppose if the house remained vacant for 1 month, so whatever is the vacancy period rent for that month will be deducted from the annual rent, and thereafter you arrive at what is called as actual rent received. Actual rent received is the rent actually received by the landlord during the year. If the problem specifies that the rent of some months could not be recovered because the tenant has committed a default, the tenant has left the house property without informing the landlord, there are many other reasons also. So if it is specified that some months rent could not be recovered, then again the actual rent received, the ARR as you see over here, will be the annual rent minus the rent unrecovered or unrealized. That has to be deducted. So whatever rent is not recovered, that rent has to be deducted to arrive at what is called as actual rent received. Now, deduction of unrealized rent. Unrealized rent is usually deducted from annual rent receivable to arrive at actual rent received. For us, ARR, actual rent received, is a very, very important factor to arrive what is called as gross annual value. Now, unrealized rent is allowed as deduction from GAV only if the following conditions are satisfied. We call those as Rule 4 conditions. Which are those Rule 4 conditions? Which on the fulfillment of which only then the unrealized rent can be deducted. One is tenancy is bona fide. We are not faking tenancy. There was a tenant and the tenant has stayed for 6 months, 7, 8, 9 months. But the remaining 2 months or 1 month or 3 months, he did not pay rent. And that is unrealized rent. So tenancy is bona fide. The defaulting tenant has vacated. or steps have been taken to compel him to vacate the property. That means we have seen to it that the defaulting tenant, the tenant who did not pay the rent for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, he has been told to leave that particular property, and he is not in possession or occupation of any other property of the SSE. Suppose if the tenant is in occupation of 2 properties, and if there is a default from him as far as payment of rent of 1 property is concerned, and if the rent is not recovered from such a tenant, then he should be compelled to leave not only this property, but also the other property which he is using as far as the similar landlord is concerned. And SSE has taken all reasonable steps to recover the unpaid rent, or has satisfied the assessing officer that legal proceedings would be useless. So when these Rule 4 conditions are satisfied, only then unrealized rent can be deducted from the annual rent. So annual rent minus the unrealized rent or the unrecovered rent, that will give you the actual rent received. So Rule 4 conditions are: tenancy is bona fide, defaulting tenant has vacated or steps have been taken to compel him to vacate the property. Such a tenant is not in occupation of any other property of the SSE, and SSE has taken all reasonable steps to recover the unpaid rent, or has satisfied the assessing officer that the legal proceedings would be useless. So only when all these Rule 4 conditions are fulfilled, unrecovered rent, unrealized rent can be claimed as deduction from annual rent to arrive at what is called as actual rent received during the year. So thank you very much.